Calabrese, and we're here with John McDonald, Kingsland School District Superintendent, to discuss the upcoming Kingsland Operating Levy Referendum. John, what is an operating levy referendum, and how is it different from the 2007 building referendum?
Well, an operating levy referendum pays for all the operations in your district. It's different than a building referendum. The building referendum in 2008 paid for just the building and what went into it. But an operating levy referendum pays for everything a child experiences in that educational day, from that bus ride to the school, to the lunch that they receive, to all the materials, equipment that we need to educate that child when they go into a classroom, and everything they experience during that day goes into an operating levy referendum. A building levy referendum is taxed. When people pay taxes on that, they pay taxes on everything they own. It's taxed differently. An operating levy referendum taxes only 1 acre of agricultural land, does not tax seasonal recreation, and levels the playing fields for taxpayers. So they're not the same, and we'll discuss that, I'm sure, more in just a moment.
What happens to my taxes if the voters approve the referendum on November 2nd?
Depending on your situation, your taxes may go up or they may decrease. For a residential homeowner of $100,000, those taxes will go up $83.25. The same is true for a commercial business of $100,000. Their taxes go up $83.25. Because of the health and safety credit that we can give back, the business owner paid more in the building referendum. They get a larger credit back in health and safety. So that residential homeowner, they will see a tax credit of around $40. So their tax impact for the year will be around $42 for the year, or about $3.54 a month. The commercial business, the tax impact is even lower because of that health and safety credit. They will end up paying $21 a year, or about $1.75 a month on a $100,000 business. Now for our agricultural land, they paid a good tax increase or burden when we did the building referendum, because they are taxed on every acre that they own and all their property value. That's the way a building referendum works. This is an operating referendum. So for our agricultural land, they're only taxed on 1 acre, a house, and their garage. So whether they own 10 acres, 600 acres, or 1,000 acres, they're only taxed on 1. So when we look at that agricultural property, their taxes would be around $86 increase. Doesn't matter how many acres they have. We can give them a greater tax credit through health and safety because they picked up a greater burden in the building project. So what we see in the agricultural properties in all examples is that their taxes will decrease and go down.
What happens if the tax levy fails on November 2nd?
If the tax levy fails, the funds that we would bring in, those extra funds we talked about, would not be available to the district. The district then would be forced to look at how they would be able to continue to operate financially and be fiscally responsible with their dollars. The state will not allow a district to operate in the red, so we do have to maintain a positive fund balance so we can run our operations. When we do that, and if those dollars would not be present, those additional dollars be present, we would be forced to look at additional cuts, possibly class sizes going up, and programs that we would like to improve upon or bring to our children for a quality education that we believe every child deserves, we may not be able to do. And cuts would undoubtedly happen if the referendum was not passed. The district would need to come back, more than likely come back the following year, and ask again for an operating levy referendum. The increase or the dollar amount could be higher for the loss of revenue that we did not have this year to maintain our operations.
Now, from what I'm hearing, the tax impact looks fairly minimal. How is that possible?
Well, as we talked, the health and safety levy that we have control over, we're able to lower that and spread that out. And we're doing that to soften that tax impact on our taxpayers. We very much need the funding, but we do understand the economic reality for all of us in our community. So we'd like to bring those dollars into our district, but also make it as easy as possible on our community residents and our taxpayers for this referendum. And by that health and safety credit, as we talked about, we're able to do that and keep the taxes, even though there are some increases, minimal, or low, and in some cases with the agricultural property, they'll actually see a decrease.
The ballot states that by voting yes, we're voting for a property tax increase. However, the tax tables show that some are getting a decrease. Explain, please.
Well, by law, when you run a referendum, the ballot question must say, by voting yes, you are voting for a property tax increase. Regardless of your situation, every referendum that runs in the state, and I believe there are 75 of them running this year, that question must be stated that way. That's why we want to get the information out to the voters. That's true in some cases, like we talked about with that $100,000 property, their taxes will go up $42 a year to bring in that additional revenue to the district. But in other situations with commercial, it's only $21. And as we see with our health and safety levy, with the adjustments that we're able to make, our agricultural property will see a decrease. But by state law, the ballot question must say you are voting for a property tax increase.
Are there any public meetings scheduled to discuss the upcoming referendum?
We do have public meetings scheduled. The next public meeting scheduled is Monday, October 18th, following the school board meeting at 6:30 in the district office conference room. The next public meeting is Tuesday, October 19th at the Wyckoff Middle School in Wyckoff, and we look forward to residents in that community coming out, or in either community coming out, to what meeting works best in their schedule. People can call the district office and ask for information. We'll gladly send that out. We have our district website. They can access information. Or if they would like us to come out and meet with them, we would gladly do that as well. I've had a great opportunity and very much enjoyed meeting with different groups here in both of our communities. For instance, I've been to the Wyckoff Lions, the Kiwanis Club. I have a meeting scheduled with the Chamber of Commerce. I was even welcomed down to Big Bob's Coffee Club. They actually run two coffee groups, one at 5 o'clock in the morning and one at 9:30. I've been able to make the 9:30, and I'm looking forward. They've asked me to join them for 5 o'clock. I just have to set my alarm a little bit earlier. But it's been a great opportunity to share information in a comfortable setting, answer questions that people have to where they will go and vote. We want to encourage people to vote. We won't tell people how to vote, but we want to encourage them to vote. We want them to go with accurate information, so that even if the tough questions, the easy questions, we'll answer all of them, so that people are well informed, so they can make that decision based on accurate information. And we do encourage our people to vote.
John, thank you for taking the time to explain the operating levy referendum to us. Please come out on November 2nd and vote on the Kingsland operating levy referendum.